Hey, what up? It's Tampa Brad back at you with book number 9 of my 20 books for 2020. And I'm not gonna lie, I filmed this video twice already in my apartment in downtown, and there was a weird buzzing, so I'm kind of angry that I'm having to refilm this. It's not Apollo's fault, it's my own fault. Should have checked it earlier. But we need to be a little brief in this, so I'm gonna try to really distill this book down to the brass tacks and really what you need to understand about it. So book number 9 is The Game by Neil Strauss. The subtitle is Penetrating the Secret Society of Pickup Artists. And so what this book is about is Neil Strauss's journey, so to speak, as he is he's an awesome author. So if you haven't read any of other Neil Strauss's other books, they're extremely well written. He's a very good author. I mean, this guy can put things very beautifully. And what he starts out as in the book is a Rolling Stone reporter. And to my understanding, he still writes for Rolling Stone from time to time. But back then, that was his primary profession before he had really written anything big. And so Neil Strauss is tasked with writing a story on this growing underground pickup artist community that was mostly relevant on forums, on internet chat rooms and stuff like that. And it was mostly just like nerdy guys, you know, trading back and forth, just kind of stories and whatever. But what wound up growing out of it is the guys who really got good at it and went from, you know, zero to hero, so to speak, and were really getting results. Started doing what are called boot camps. And so they would take other guys who wanted to learn to be successful with the opposite sex, and they would bring them out to, it was mostly in LA or other major cities like New York or maybe Dallas. And they would bring the guys out and go out with them for the weekend and instruct them on how to literally talk to girls and do it in a way that was successful, that led to potential relationships. And so this was pretty groundbreaking and had a huge effect on the guys that were involved in it, because it really changed their paradigm. If you think about it, most of us are scripted in the idea that certain skills, especially around dating or relating to the opposite sex, are a fixed thing that you're born with. You're born with a certain level of skill, and there's nothing you can really do to change that, except the things that, you know, consumer society wants you to think you can do to change that. So, you know, make more money, be better looking, get plastic surgery, do all this weird stuff, you know, be a hype beast, so to speak. Those are all the what you would call socially conditioned ways to become more attractive. But in reality, what you find out is it's actually not about what you're doing, it's about who you are as a person. And so what Neil Strauss does is he goes in as a Rolling Stone reporter to find out more about this pickup artist community. So he winds up taking a boot camp with one of the instructors at the time. So Mystery was one of the early dudes in the community, and so Neil Strauss wound up taking a boot camp with him. And Neil immediately fell in love with the idea of being able to work on this skill that he'd struggled with so much for his whole life. He had never had a very successful dating history, and even getting a little bit of a positive reaction from a girl he had just met was extremely exciting to him. And it basically got him on the hook for, essentially he went native. So he literally went to such an extreme extent that he joined up with Mystery and a couple other dudes to start what was called Project Hollywood. And so they literally got a huge mansion in Beverly Hills, and they just rented it out between 8 different dudes, and all of them there were into, you know, pickup, so to speak. And so they all taught students, and they became basically instructors in success with them. And so they would have other dudes fly in, and they would bring them out in LA and teach them literally just how to go out and talk to girls. And so they developed such a stir and such a big following that they really just spawned a whole movement and community out of that. And so the number one, I guess, result you could say of the events that are described in the book is the company Real Social Dynamics. And it's kind of unfortunate because a lot of Real Social Dynamics' best content, let's just say it was not very PC. It was not very politically correct. They said a lot of polarizing things, but they always said the truth. They would say things that were maybe put in a very brash way, but at a certain point, you need to hear something in a very brash way if you've been beat over the head with hearing it in the incorrect and politically correct way. So what they did was they really, I don't want to say unveiled because that's not the right word, but they really shined a light on something that a lot of people were very afraid to talk about, which is that most, not just men, people walk around feeling very stifled and like they can't be themselves, and that they need to do something or have something in order to be accepted by someone else or loved at a certain level. And, you know, I don't mean to get sappy, but that's what it really comes down to at the end of the day, is they don't feel like they can be loved for who they are. They feel like they have to add something on. And so that really is the parasite of social conditioning. So what Real Social Dynamics has made a habit of is calling that out and teaching people how to unplug from that, get out of the matrix, so to speak, and see life for what it really is and learn how to navigate that via, as their name of their company would indicate, via social dynamics. And so how to become a better person at interacting and stuff like that. So the reason it's unfortunate is most of their best content has recently been taken down because they were hit with a lot of lawsuits, and really they had issues with merchant services. And so what happened is they basically became blackballed in the business community. So they couldn't really run a business. They were getting north of $10 million a year in revenue, and they couldn't really run a business of that size while they were coming up against the impediments that they were dealing with. So they actually shifted their entire focus to self-help, deleted all the old Successful Women content. Literally, it's gone. You can't find it anywhere other than if you had maybe downloaded it from YouTube or something like that. But they've switched completely into self-help, and it's not a bad thing. But what it has done is it's left a void. So it's left a void that I'm very interested to see how it gets filled, and I plan on putting out content that fills some of that void in regards to what I learned from what they taught me. So I still am a huge fan. I'm absolutely 100% in support of what they're doing. In fact, I'm gonna go do one of their self-help courses in June. I'm gonna do a 4-day self-help course with them. Still super pumped about that, but it does sadden me that something that helped me so much in my social life and my learning to really be okay with who I am was, the fact that it's gone makes me a little sad, because you will not get to see it if you haven't seen it already. So there are some of my friends who I got into it, and the transformation that I saw in them was literally mind-boggling, the craziest thing I've ever seen. So if you have not, check out the book The Game by Neil Strauss. It is especially if you're a guy, you won't be able to put it down. When you have the realization of, oh my gosh, this is a skill, and see how they go about cultivating that skill, it'll just blow your face off. You'll love the book. You won't be able to stop reading it. I think it's like a 7-hour audiobook, and this is probably the longest I've ever gone continuously reading an audiobook. It's 7 hours. I did it in one sitting. I literally drove from Georgia to Florida and then drove around for 2 more hours just to finish the book. So it's a page turner. You won't be able to put it down, and I highly recommend it because it will probably spawn in you at least some sort of an inkling as to how you could potentially change your life in getting massive benefits somewhere where you thought you probably were locked into a certain realm of existence for the rest of your life. You're not. Don't be afraid to take action. Check out the book, and definitely follow me on Instagram. I definitely hit a lot of this on my Instagram. This is something I'm not afraid to go directly at. And then definitely subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hit the bell if you have not already so you get notified when I'm dropping new vids. Thank you for watching. I got to run out of here to go to a networking meeting because I'm strapped for time. But I appreciate your attention. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next vid.